You need to stick around today and see what we're going to add to the side-by-side here to make it a little bit more useful. All right, like I said, we're going to do a little bit something different here with this video. We're going to be working on this. The door in the basement is going to be put on hold because looking at some forecast, we have some stuff coming up that I want to get this taken care of. So what we have here is, you can see I have a box in the back. Now this box is actually going to be pretty much like a cheap plow, really, for the side-by-side. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get everything out, opened up, and then we'll get everything up here, and then we'll open it up on camera, show you everything that's in it. Now, I don't expect this to be the highest quality of plows. I literally paid like $300 for this thing. So if it needs any work, in the future coming up, as far as, if I bend something, whatever, I can always straighten, weld new brackets on. We can deal with that in the future. All right, I didn't really have a good knife around here, so what I've been using to open this box, I actually have my machete here, so I've been using that to come through and basically slice these open. All right, so now we have it all sliced open. We're gonna go ahead and lay this back down. So what we have here is basically a snow plow in a box. So you can see, this is what it looks like. There's the model, this LYOM 459. All right, so now go ahead and start getting this all out of the box. Piece of some kind of like a rubbery material that was in there, but we're going to use that as more of a just something I can get my knees on, so I'm not on the concrete. All right, so we have this set up here, so now I can use that to sit on. I got most of the pieces laid out, and I got to get this kind of set up. So let's get this piece out first. And here's my directions. Let's see what they look like. All right, all the parts break down. Pages are all sticking together. All right, all different bolts. Assembly instructions. I'm gonna go ahead and get this all set up off camera, and then once I get all the parts kind of laid out, then we'll come back. I mean, by getting parts laid out, I'm gonna go by the instruction manual here, and you can see how we have the different sections. So what I'm gonna do is go through and actually get these laid out on here to match this, so that way I can just kind of grab the parts as I need to go through. So after I get it laid out, we'll bring you back. We got everything laid out now. So now we're gonna just go ahead and start getting these pieces put together. But you can see, this is all gonna be formed into a snowplow. Yeah, we'll see how this goes. All right, it doesn't show anything, but there's no actual written words or saying, hey, you may need these tools. So we're just gonna go ahead and bring our toolkit over and get that all set up, so we can just keep on moving with this project. Toolkit set up. So now let's see what our first step's gonna be. All right, so our first steps, we're gonna need, looks like this piece for the right side, this piece on the left side, this piece. Looks like it should be going this way. These get bolted somehow to here. And you can see what I'm talking about. It's literally just pictures. So you gotta kind of guess, get this piece, get that piece, which these do correspond. They do show pictures at the beginning. And then we can see the nuts and the bolts here. But these are in just one big bag. So we're gonna have to dig through and get those out. So if any time you see it jump through and speed up time, that's why. Finally figured out, I think these are the bolts I need. If need be, I might have to come back and take them back out. But they're all different sizes here, which is kind of odd to me. Because these two nuts are different. I don't think those are right. All right, after much headache with these, I finally decided to go through and kind of sort all the screws. So this makes it much easier, because now that they're all sorted, this bag has all the same bolts and nuts in it, and I got them split up between regular bolts, carriage bolts, and everything else. So now I figured out that these are the ones that I actually need for this step. So now we can continue, and hopefully that makes it easier for future steps. That one. That's where I messed up. There's that way. This side. And these go from the outside in. They went the bottom hole. It'd be nice if they had words to tell me if I should tighten this up or not, because it looks like that catches on those notches and you can adjust it. But right now we're going with just how they say to put it together. Alright, but I do need to tighten this stuff down. So let me get that tightened. And hopefully, if I'm smart, I'll remember to speed this part up a little bit. Alright, so now I gotta get part 8, 7, 8, and 9. So let me find those. So I found my bolts, I found my 3 pieces here. So we got part 8, 9, and 7. So these go on the outside of this, and I gotta make sure these holes line up, and then this goes on that. And then these bolts, these carriage bolts, are gonna go down through these, through that, and then put the screws on the other side. So that's gonna be interesting to figure that out. So let's try to get that set up right. This is gonna go onto this. It looks like I gotta set everything one. And these are gonna go down through. Might be hard when we do it this way. Get one through. Get a bolt started. That one through. And get my nut started. All right, that's one side. Now you get the other side too. they would say if you have somebody to give you a hand, this would probably be where you want it. Let me turn here and show you what we're trying to do. So I gotta get it through this one. Oh, that's the bottom one. Through that. Oh, wait a minute, nope. I have to go through this one first. And through this one. We're gonna put a nut on that to hold that together so that don't come apart. I gotta do the top one too. All right, so we got it started. Now let's see step 3. Yep, I need to just go ahead and tighten those down. So now we gotta figure out what size these are. Because so far, everything's been different sizes. So that has not been fun with this. So, all right, let's get these tightened down, figure out what size these are. Okay, so this side is 13 and it's a carriage bolt. I can't really see too well what I'm trying to do. There's holes in the top here also. I'm trying to keep these aligned. So I have a feeling I'm going to need these. If I don't keep them aligned, I'm going to come back and re-loosen everything. Hold on. I can kind of foresee in the future I might have to come back and put some Loctite on some of these because I can see them in the future coming loose. But let me get the other side done and we'll be back. All right, so we got those on and tight, and hopefully these are aligned enough that I can get stuff through as we need. So might have to struggle with some of that, but we'll get to that when we come there. So now we're on to page 3. So what we're going to do is separate these instructions. So now I can see my parts list of which screws and bolts they want. And the blade is going to be fastened to this. So let me turn it down first. This one's the middle. I don't know if it's that side. Actually, it goes that way on it. All right, so that goes that way. Then I get the other two pieces to go besides. So there's the wings. All right, I'm gonna back you up a little bit. All right, and now I gotta get one through here somewhere. And this thing is adjustable, so you can actually make this wider or smaller. So right now, I'm gonna go with the max width, and if I need to, I can always, it looks like take these two bolts out on each side, bring this in, and you can see there's other holes here. So to make this skinnier. So for right now, I'm gonna start with the wider setting. If I don't like it, I can make it smaller. All right, I got that backwards. The centerpiece goes in the front. That actually makes more sense. That one in. That would be easier with 3 hands. So what we're trying to do, go through both of these, through here, and then we can put the nut in. So here's my nut. Through that. Of course, now I'm going to try to lift this movable piece. Okay, so let's loosen this up. That was a little bit tight. See if that helps. I'm gonna get a nut on that. I don't want that to come off again. All right, and now we'll get the other side. And it's going to be the same thing before I try to move this around anywhere else. Force the pieces right down. You got that one started, I'll get the other one started here. Got it in. Okay, we got them started. But remember, these are carriage bolts too, so you want to make sure you get this actually in all the way. So let me bring it down here and show you more of what I'm talking about. All right, if you're not familiar with the carriage bolt, basically, let me show you one that's not in there. Essentially what these are is, they have nothing on the top here that you can hold on to actually tighten. But you have this square head underneath. That is going to match into slots like that one or this one. But you can see I don't have that in there all the way yet. So I need to get this adjusted, and then that's how we'll get it in there. So you can see if it's not in, it's going to spin. I need a deep socket. As you can see, once it gets in here, it's a nice finished look to it. All right, so we got that one in. Now we're gonna get this top one here also. All right, now on the other side. I'm gonna show you from the back side on over here. So you can see down here, this is where we're going to. So what we do is get it started. And I'm pushing the other side in. And there is no torque settings in the manual or instructions, so we're kind of just guessing here. foot by my calibrated hand, that feels pretty good right there. All right, so now we gotta figure out the next step. All right, now I gotta flip this whole thing around and upside down. And it might not seem it, but this thing is actually pretty heavy. If I was to guess, I'm gonna say it's probably somewhere between 100 to 125 pounds right now. That's before we get the rest of all this hardware on, so that's just a guess, but let's get to the next step. Okay, I think we got it all figured out now. So basically there's these flat bar pieces. These are gonna pinch the plow together through here. So what we're gonna do is actually figure out how we're gonna do this, because we're using in the long version, or you can do the short version, and they don't really give clear directions on that. So I'm assuming these long ones should actually span across this seam. So I'm assuming I'm gonna put the small ones on the end and the bigger ones in the middle. So we're gonna go with that way, because this part behind it should hold it for as far as strength. So we'll do that. So let's go ahead and get it done. These don't line up very well. These don't line up at all. All right, what I'm talking about here is if you look in this hole, you can see the hole is not lining up very well. So really, I got an issue where they have to be really cockeyed to get in there. So if that's that way, and this way is the opposite on that side. So yeah. All right, so I figured something out. Basically in that last step, we went ahead and remember we tightened these 4 bolts down. Well, I went ahead and loosened those back up, so I got some play in it, and that seems to have done the trick. So let me bring you right back here and show you, and we'll get going again on it. Yep, all right, you gotta loosen those up too. Let me show you what we're talking about here. Because I have some more that are tight that I can't actually get lined up. So it looks like I'm gonna have to loosen these back up also. That can move a little, but that's not really which way I need to move it. Okay, because this arm needs to kind of come in some to line up the holes. So that's what we had to do here. There. All right, now we just got to remember everything that we loosen, we got to make sure go back through and retighten. Yeah, those are not lined up right. All right, the one thing we're gonna do, we'll get the 2 in the end. We'll get these 2 in the end, so that way it holds this and this square together. So we don't have to keep worrying about that piece too. I will say the one thing I do like about these little wear bars, these, once they get worn down so much, I can just flip them and then I have another good edge, and they'll probably last me for years that way. All right, so how am I gonna get that adjusted? As you can see, hopefully you can see how much that is still off. And they both are. So let me play around and see what I can come up with. All right, I figured that one out. Pretty much it came down to, I was lifting the whole assembly and then bang it in, and then it lined up. So I went ahead and got the bolts put in. So now we just gotta go through and get these all tightened down. All right, got those all bolted on, and now we're gonna take a little break. All right, I missed something for it. So now I gotta actually take part of this off and put the little shoes, basically they have their on. So let me show you what I missed. It's actually the second bolt in on each side is where I gotta take that back off. That has to come off, and they have what they call these things here. Basically, once it slide down through that groove, and this is how you adjust your height of what you want it riding at. So that's going to be fun to tighten that up underneath the flat piece there. So we're going to get this one done, we'll get the other one done, and then we'll be back. All right, this is one part of this design that I don't think was very well thought out, but you can see down here you can't use a ratchet to put this back on. So once you put it up to the height you want, you can't really get in there other than with a wrench. So whoever thought that design, you need to redo that a little bit. So, but let me get that fastened. All right, it's actually about lunchtime now, so I'm gonna take a break here, go get something to eat, but I wanted to show you the progress of where we're at. So you can see it's actually starting to look like a plow now, but those are done, and like I said, putting those shoes on, the skis, that was the hardest part, and I'm not happy with that part. But so far, it's actually pretty heavy duty metal. I mean, as far as what it is. So far, I like it, but I haven't tried it yet. So let's go get something to eat and we'll come back. Now we're gonna get back to it, get going here again. My light plugged in. So we're back. I did change my hat. If anyone wants to send me hats to wear during the videos, yeah, look at my email below. But let's get back to doing this here. So step 6, we gotta get, looks like the springs and some bolts I was calling for. See, it's saying P24. P24, two of them, yep, that's those. And H10 bolts. That's these big things over here. All right, so that's these. So this goes through here. This hooks onto this, and that goes through there. And that's so that way that can pull and hit something. But how the heck are we gonna do that? All right, so we got it figured out. This, I just need to stretch the spring out to put it through and put the nut on. So that's gonna be the fun part, is stretching this, which is a pretty tight spring. So I need to find some way to pull this, put this on, and get it through the hole at the same time. Yeah. All right, probably not the best way to do it, but I figured I'd use the winch that's gonna actually be lifting this to help compress the springs. But now I need to get these tightened down a little bit more. That way it'll hold better. All right, so we're just gonna go with something like that. So that way I get plenty of threads coming out so I can see in the future if these are starting to back out. And it gives me room if I want to. I can put another nut on there to lock it, so that way I don't have to worry about them. Now on to the next step. Okay, so this must be the pin that locks into that. Okay, so I need to get an H4 and an H10 bolt. All right, so I got the bolt and my nut here. So this piece goes here. This doesn't show very clearly. It goes on this side of it. It's supposed to go down into that groove. All right, so, and that comes from this side through. You would think they would have something there, because that looks like it's gonna be off. That's gonna be off. Should be something to push that out a little. It's not gonna work because that's hitting. It has to go through that. All right, so that doesn't line up right. So let me figure this out. It looks like maybe there should be a washer or something in between there. That would make more sense to me. All right, so I went through, and actually I got a washer out of mine looking for the right thickness. So this is from my own parts. So now if I hold this together tight, it actually lines up in that groove. So we're gonna go ahead and put that together that way. But I'm gonna put another washer on this side, so this piece can actually move a little easier. Now, yes, that lines up and actually goes through the hole just fine. Because this is going to be the lever that you use to change your angle of the plow. So that goes like that, and this spring is supposed to go on this. Of course, now I got it on there, I can't get this into that. All right, so let me get this spring on, we'll be right back. All right, I just loosened it up enough so I can get this, slip it around it, hook it. Now, I just gotta tighten everything back up again. All right, so now we gotta get this on here. So this piece is gonna go underneath there. So I gotta get this big bolt. Gonna come up through this one. Through that one. Through there. And this is gonna be on there also. And this goes through there. Get the nut on that. That way I can hold it. And this bolt is gonna go through this way. I don't know why this one's down, the other one's up, but just going by what the pictures show. So it has the one coming up through and the other one coming down through. All right, so now, I guess we just get this tightened up. All right, one other thing I just noticed that I had to take it back apart again is you'll see this handle that was on here that had the spring on it. Well, it never said anything in the steps, but this spring has to get connected to the back here and to the handle. So I had to take this off because this part here was so close, it was closed where you couldn't get anything into it. So I went to the vise and had to spread it out a little bit. So now we're gonna get this spring put back on in this spot and then get the handle put back on. So we'll go ahead and get that done here. All right, we're back to it today. We're gonna get this thing finished up and get it mounted. So I just wanted to show you what we got left so far. And you can see I got a couple of pieces here. And then there's some of the hardware, and there's the bolts I got left. But now we got the plow here, we gotta finish getting this set up. Let's get moving. These two. These two. Right, so these just go through. The other end. Because these. All right, now in these beams, these screws and then these are different distance. So we need the shorter ones, the closer ones together here for this. And if anyone sees any issues that I'm doing and putting this stuff together, by all means, leave me a message down in the comments. All right, now we'll get these tightened up. All right, so I got these all tightened up. So now we're going to our next step, which is step 12. But they have me working on the bottom of the plow, so I need to flip this over again. So that's why I had to move you out of the way. So let's get this flipped. What we're gonna do is put it up on his face. We'll work on it that way. Well, let's get you in closer. All right, I made a mistake. I got the wrong size washers that I was using on that. So I need to go back, and then this piece here, I need to take that back apart and put the correct washers in, because these are the correct ones. The smaller ones were wrong. These are our next pieces. They're gonna be going onto this. So I do have it upside down so I can kind of build it sticking up in the air to the back, sticking up. So this goes through there. Okay, I think we got to figure that out. That goes through that one. Let's put this one in too so we don't have to hit in the head with it. They're tight. So now we're on to step 13. Step 13. All right, we're gonna be putting this heavy plate on, but I wanna get my bolts so I don't have enough big washers for that. So I guess I'll have to use 2 of the smaller washers because there isn't enough big ones. All right, we're gonna have to get you readjusted again. Next step is going to be this plate here. So let me get you set up a little bit better here. So now you can see this. But this is going to be coming on. Let me grab the pins. All right, because this is essentially pins. That goes in there. Goes in here, but we're not going to put this on because this needs to get mounted to that, and then this will be done. So the plow really is done. I just got to get this affixed to the side by side. So let me. All right, come to the conclusion that really the plow is done. The other piece that has to get mounted on here is going to be specific to your side by side because that's actually a universal plate. So I got to figure out how I'm going to mount it to mine. Once I figure that out, I'll show you how I did it. But other than that, this is all done. And if you could, give me a like and subscribe. That greatly help out the channel. And feel free to share this. But the plow itself is done. It's actually pretty heavy and it's more stout than I thought it was going to be. So we'll get to see how it tests out first thing this year. But for right now, I'm going to get the universal plate put on. I promised I'd show how I got that universal plate mounted to the front. And you can see here, here's the plate. It's So I got it mounted in the front, so that way I don't have to worry about the A-arms. I don't have to worry about cutting this, because I'm gonna keep whatever strength there is in this there. But this is what she looks like underneath. You know, you have these. I use the square ones, not the round ones. Because these round ones, my frame is square tube, so I use the square for it. So we got these all up in here like that. And to hold this in position is what I have this here for. So I literally just, you know, kind of use this to hold the plate up against to figure out where I wanted to put the bolts in here. And I did cut my skid plate and took that piece off and just fastened it here to make a little bump underneath. So the only thing I gotta do is I'm gonna let this go for a little bit, see if any of these loosen up. And then what I'll end up doing is I'll just cut these off. And once again, if you enjoyed this or if you found anything useful in it, you know, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Just wanted to show you real quick what it looks like here. So you can see we got everything set up now. That would be the plowing position. And we raise and lower. That's it. We're gonna call that all good. We're done.